Hello, everyone. I'm going to wait and let a few people in and get this started because I have a lot to say. A lot. Just get ready to get started, guys. Well, hello, everyone. We're just going to get this started because I'm going to tell you something. I am sure that a lot of you need to talk about this just the same way I have. If I tell you that my phone has been ringing since before I even got out of bed this morning, and I'm very angry, quite frankly, about that. I was trying to sleep in this morning. I did not watch the Academy Awards. How many did? How many round of applause? How many people did watch the Academy Awards? If you did, hi, I see everyone. Thank you for stopping in. Look, I was woken up by texts, emails, phone calls. I did watch what I guess I needed to watch out of the Academy Awards this morning. As we all know, let's just recap it for everyone. Will Smith got very upset over a joke that Chris Rock said, a pre-written joke that Chris Rock said about Jada Pinkett Smith, alluding to her being bald and actually looking forward to G.I. Jane 2, which is funny because a lot of the young people didn't know that G.I. Jane was a role that actually Demi Moore shaved her head for. Will was originally laughing. Jada was not, according to the shot that we saw. Remember, we only see the director's version of it. Next thing you know, Will jumps up on the stage. It was a new platform, a different kind of stage. Everybody was a little bit closer. Will decided to walk right on up and proceeded to smack Chris Rock. Then they both kind of gave this weird smile, laugh, and then Will sat back down and decided to swear using curse words, leave my wife's effing name out of your mouth, making everybody feel visibly uncomfortable. Chris Rock then tried to make a little bit of a joke about it. If you notice, as a comic, Chris kind of was taken aback. He could have went deeper because we all know things that we could make fun of Will Smith about. He held it together and went on. So let's let's just start with the fact that if the Chris Rock slap was a stunt, because let's face it, everybody's looking for a viral video moment. I can't do an online show for a local morning show without them looking for an online moment. Pretend that was a stunt. Because Will did play Muhammad Ali. He certainly knows how to throw a punch and make it look real. And Chris wasn't knocked over. His face was not red. He didn't hold his cheek like you normally would. But let's say that it was a stunt. It might not have been. But let's say it was written. I think Will went too far when he walked off. He got in character and began to swear and really got, he has a lot of other issues behind him with that. What do you guys think? Let's talk about it. Even if it wasn't a stunt, I'm going to say this and then I'm going to open it up to everyone. Even if it was scripted, whatever it was, scripted or unscripted, the fact that the Academy Awards organization allowed him to interrupt the show with violence and stay in his seat is appalling. Appalling. It will set a precedent now. I'm telling you, I'm a comedian who goes out on the road, who doesn't have security, who performs in venues that a lot of times I can't see the darkness. It's going to trickle down. And there's not going to be a camera there when I get smacked because someone's offended because their grandmother was Italian and doesn't like Italian jokes or whatever it is. Because someone has been hurt over everything. People go, oh, alopecia is serious. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. As a matter of fact, you should go to naaf.org and make a donation today. That's what we all should do, because Will Smith should have taken Chris Rock aside in the back, grabbed him by his neck and said, write a check to this organization and apologize. Do a show for them. That's would have been the appropriate response. If you want to be upset and you want to hold on to the back of his neck and but you don't smack someone. You don't do that kind of stuff. You have a conversation. No one should ever be met with violence for words. Words. This is where we live, America. It's your right to freedom of speech. Will is sitting in a room with actors who are allowed to express their art of all shapes, sizes, genders, choices. We're supposed to be doing that. Let's also say that Jada Smith, this is 2022. She's a very accomplished woman. She's a strong, outspoken woman. She came from nothing. She does not need a man to stand up for her. This is not the 1800s. Where does her power come from there? She could have told him if she wanted to tell him. This is a woman who held her own against Tupac. They were friends. She knows how to say what she needs. She doesn't need a man to speak for her. Okay. And let's also say this. If we're going to start, then perhaps what about Regina Hall, who I love? I thought it was a very funny bit when she had the guys come up and saying that they needed to be deeply COVID tested by her tongue. Is that reverse sexism? Should we start there? Should someone have gotten up and been upset by that? Should Amy Schumer gotten in trouble when she made fun of J.K. Simmons for being old and not as attractive as Timothy Chalamet? Were we picking on people's looks now? We can't do this, people. These are jokes. And you have to allow a comic, a person who files their taxes, and under occupation it says comedian, you have to let us do our job or the world will be without laughter. But now I'm open to talking to you guys about it. Clearly I'm fired up because it affects me, because for a year following the Kanye incident, when he took the mic from Taylor, I spent dodging drunks from trying to get up on stage. A year. I was assaulted by one threw a glass, hit the wall, shattered, cut my eye. I was standing in front of a whole room with wine over me like Carrie. And I'm going to tell you something. What Chris Rock had to stand there, stunt or not, stand there in front of that entire room and the world is debilitating. To get hit is horrible, but it takes away your self-worth. But to do it in front of hundreds of people, it makes you feel this big, this big, this big. The LAPD is not pressing charges because Chris didn't want to. What happened to the fact that if a domestic violence victim, now who's going to call? Who's going to call who gets hit by their partner today? Because they didn't even do it. They didn't even press charges when it happened in front of the world. It's a bad precedent. The Academy needs to be held accountable for this right now. Let's talk about it. Who wants to talk with me? I'm open to talk about it with anyone. I know I'm on like crazy. So send me your links if anybody wants to talk. All right, Stephanie, I'm going to let you in. Come on in. Do you want to do video? I'll see if you want to do some video. You don't have to. Are you there, Stephanie?
I'm here. Yeah, I'm here.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine.
I'm sorry, I'm fired up, but this hits too close to home.
I'm actually super excited that you're fired up about this because maybe unpopular opinion, I couldn't agree with you more. Number one, we are suffering from, Tammy, it's funny, I have a background in politics for 30 years, and both parties are screwing up. The part we're really screwing up on, in my opinion, is this idea that no, we can't have fun anymore. We can't laugh, and you can't pick on anybody. You can't make any comments about anything, and that you have to think before you speak, to the point that you're going to offend everyone all the time, even if you're thoughtful about it. And the fact that he could get up there and assault him, the fact that he wasn't escorted out immediately and could sit back down, get an award. Denzel Washington, who I've had a crush on since I was a little kid, like I love him. The fact that what was offered then is that at your highest point, the devil's going to try to bring you down. So it wasn't even really blamed then on Will. It was blamed on the devil.
Yeah.
And that it wasn't his fault. And then on top of that, there was no apology. I'm not suggesting an apology makes it all better, but he apologized to the Academy. He apologized to everyone else. So we just made assault okay. really, is
Right,
what
we
happened.
literally are living in a society right now where we have all fought. I literally took my young son to march this summer because of the assault on black men, and we had to
Thank you.
watch that. And it's
Thank you.
insane. And now that's not my place to speak about. But what I will say is
Same.
the fact that this is such a celebrated. This was an amazing. I had to catch up. I didn't watch it. Okay,
Right.
let's be honest. I didn't watch it really because look, one of the hosts has said horrible things about me, lies and complete things. Should I now? Do I have a free right now to the next time I see them at a comedy club, go smack them? Because those are true lies, not jokes. Should
Thank
I
you.
do that? I don't know,
Thank
right?
you. And look, I understand. And also, the other piece of it, too, that I think is not irrelevant to this, Tammy, in terms of what you're talking about, is that, and not that this should be a part of the conversation, but the truth is that Will and Jada have been throwing their personal dirt out there really in an odd way that I think is super uncomfortable and odd. And so I would bet they're extra emotional about this. But we just said it's okay to hit someone if they offend you. And we did it during the Grammys. And there's been at this point what appears to be just zero ramifications. And then everybody's saying, well, it was so sad and you really shouldn't pick on people. Well, if we go down that road, to your point, Tammy, as a comedian, where do you go from there?
Well, here's the thing. Listen, I'm literally telling you that there is nothing that I can talk about. There's a theory, okay, that in the United States now that someone has been killed or died within 6 feet of everyone. You know that theory now that they're saying 'cause
Yeah.
we're over
Yes.
200 years
Yes.
old, so someone has died because people go, when I buy my house, what if someone died there? Look, someone has died within 6 feet of you or a mile of
Yeah.
you anywhere. There is nothing. Someone has hurt, been killed, been offended by everything anyone would say. You can't talk about Dr. Seuss. You can't talk about Pepe Le Pew. You can't talk
Thank
about.
you.
So there is nothing that I am going to say that is going to please. And who wants to please everyone? Now, do I think that that
Thank
was
you.
a pointed attack at her? I don't think so. Because had Chris wanted to attack, let's all just say there were things that he could have said that would have really attacked them. There were
Absolutely.
things. And can we also just say that Jada is gorgeous? Hair, no hair. She is truly one of the most beautiful
She is.
specimens on the planet. Like if you see her, she's luminous. And she looked
Yep.
luminous that night. And
Yep.
I don't think that, I'll tell you the truth, Will really tarnished himself. If it was stunted, I believe the first half was stunted. I really do. I really think that that was something that they didn't plan with the network and they thought was going to be funny,
Yeah.
kind of like
I do
one of
too.
the
I
big
do too.
slaps. And then I think Will got so much into character and he's got so much animus from other things that he sat down and it just really, it pumped him. And I think he bought too far in. I
Yeah.
think he
I
bought
do
too
too.
far in.
I do too. But Tammy, I appreciate your having this conversation. And I love that it's coming from your perspective because my first thought was we can't even be funny anymore. And even if you pick on everybody, the level of offense that they take, in other words, the people that feel offended now hold the power. I don't even understand that. I just don't understand that. And now, if you hold the power because you're offended, we've just said you can kind of do whatever you can do because it's not even your fault.
Yeah, I am
It's the
not a
fault of the
person
person. And
anymore.
that's
I'm not a
bananas.
person. You get to hit me
Right.
now, I guess, apparently. If I say something that offends you, feel free, because Will Smith did it to Chris Rock, and I'm no Chris
Thank
Rock.
you.
So
Thank you.
so the random person on a Friday night who's upset over something, now
Yeah.
and you have to understand, we're in the front lines. I'm not there with
No, you literally are.
security. It's me alone. I don't travel with an agent or a manager. Sometimes I travel with my kid. It's
Ugh.
insanity. Will Smith could have made a bigger, if this was real, he could have made a bigger impact by turning his back and not looking at Chris Rock.
I agree.
He could have made a
agree.
way bigger impact if he would have turned his back on Chris Rock or used his platform once he won. We all knew he was going to win, to say that wasn't cool. People who deal with, he could have taken a moment and been a hero instead of a zero. And I hate to sound like one of those, but
Tammy, I agree. I had this conversation with my kids last night. What if he and Jada stood up and walked out?
yeah. They
Think
could have
about what
turned
a
their
big
chairs.
deal.
Those were
Think about what a big
freestanding
deal.
chairs. They could have turned their chairs.
Thank you. But I'm just saying you could have made a statement that way if that's what you needed to do at the time. But to physically assault someone with no, And then Chris Rock is in a horrible position because he's like this macho dude. So what happens to Chris now? If he presses charges, people are going to call him a wussy or something. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just
I
it's a
thought, but
preposterous.
that's I'm very upset with the LAPD. It shouldn't be in their hands. We all saw it.
Thank you.
We all saw it. Quite honestly, it should be a citizen's arrest right now. We could collectively do it. And I love Will Smith. Bad
I
decision.
do too.
One bad
I agree
decision
with you.
doesn't change your life, but this is a learning lesson and it is not okay. He needs to stand up before it trickles down, because the day that it trickles
I
down,
know.
I'm telling you, if it's me, I'm suing the Academy and I'm suing Will Smith right now, because
Absolutely.
there's footage that set the precedent, and I'm not
agree.
playing. I don't sue anybody. I never have sued anybody. But
I agree.
thank
I
you so
agree.
much for joining in. Does
Thank
anybody
you,
want to talk
Tammy.
about
Thanks
it?
for
Thank
having
you
the
so much.
conversation. I'll put myself back in the audience. Thanks for
No,
having
thank
me.
you. Does anybody else want to talk about this? I'm happy to do it. I'm open. I'm fired up. Let's talk. Let's get this out, because this is also very hard. You have to understand, not just because I'm a comic, but as someone who survived, I've been very open about this. Domestic violence in my 20s. I don't like to watch people get. If I'm watching a boxing match, I expect it. If I'm watching MMA, if I'm watching MMA, I expect it. I no longer expect. I need to laugh. Why would we want this? What the Academy Awards? I don't know if they were pulling a viral stunt, but it went too far. Too far. Does anybody else want to talk before we sign out? I think I've kind of ran it and raved about it, but I'd love to hear somebody else. Feel free if you have a different perspective. Also remember, www.naaf.org. That's the Alopecia Foundation. That's what you should do if you're outraged, no matter what. We should all go. I made my donation. You don't need to know all that. I'm not telling everybody that for that reason, but I'm telling everyone because it is the right thing to do if it hurt people's feelings on that level, but violence is never the answer. Anyone else before we get going? Does anybody want to say hello? Hello? Let's talk about this. I just want to give you a chance before we go. Well, that's okay. Oh, is anybody? Okay, I thought someone tried to jump in, but that's okay. But I thank you all for paying attention, allowing me to rant. Let's just do better. Can't we do better? Can't I tell my jokes and you vote by coming to my show and buying tickets or not, turning your channel or not, turning your chair or not? Do better. We have the chance. We are not a barbaric society. We cannot take a woman's power and give it to a man. She doesn't need a man to stand up for her like that. There is nothing glorified like that. We cannot take a entertainer's voice and shut them down because you don't like what they say. You just choose to find someone else who you do like. This is it. Do better. Violence is never the answer. And remember this. Don't try it with me. I'm telling you now. Don't try to hit me on stage, because if I don't hit you, someone I'm related to is just a phone call away. I'm Tammy Pescatelli. Thanks for playing with me.